Hello everyone, my name is Siddharth Chetty, and I'm the co-captain of Team Delete Cancer, along with Arav Bafna. We are a team made up of freshmen from Mission San Jose High School, and together we have raised over $700 for cancer research. Our topic is acute lymphocytic leukemia, which is a type of cancer that starts in the white blood cells in bone marrow. I hope you find this video informative.
Overall, leukemia is the cancer of bone marrow or any blood cells in the body, including red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. Leukemia also affects the bone marrow, which can lead to problems with blood production. There are several kinds of leukemia, such as acute myelogenous leukemia, acute lymphocytic leukemia, chronic myelogenous leukemia, and others that deal with more narrow and unique cases. Some forms of leukemia occur in children or adults, while others form in both. Normally, leukemia targets white blood cells that are responsible for protecting the body from infections and disease. Leukemia can lead the body to underproduce the white blood cells, leaving it a target for infection. Or it can overproduce white blood cells and can eventually crowd out the necessary normal cells, leaving the body in a shortage of necessary nutrients and energy.
Over 382,000 people are living with leukemia or are in remission, and it's predicted that 68,000 will die just this year. Leukemia is most common in adults over 55 years old, and many struggle to support themselves when diagnosed. Your contribution benefits all who need financial support when battling this cancer. Every day, 170 Americans are diagnosed with this cancer, and only 100 of them win the fight, meaning 40% of the people who get leukemia pass away. By donating or supporting us in any way, you are helping lower that number and defeat leukemia one step at a time.
Alright, so now we're going to go over how acute lymphocytic leukemia affects the body. So, usually inside of your body, your bones have bone marrow inside of them. And your bone marrow cells produce blood cells, like red blood cells and white blood cells. However, if someone is diagnosed with leukemia, the DNA of their bone marrow cells is either damaged or destroyed, which leads to an incorrect production in white blood cells and red blood cells. So some symptoms that stem from this are enlarged lymph nodes. So lymph nodes are just small nodes that you can find behind your neck and in other various places of your body that swell when there is a large influx of pathogens that leads to things like infections. So this actually gives acute lymphocytic leukemia its name in the lymph part. So the next symptoms are bruising and bleeding from the gums. So bruising is just internal bleeding. So this stems from the fact that there's an incorrect production in the red blood cells. And fever and frequent infections come from the fact that there aren't as many white blood cells in your body to fend off pathogens and viruses. And finally, this last symptom is bone pain, which occurs from the fact that your bone marrow is damaged.
Thanks, Malcolm. So, what are these risk factors? Some of these risk factors include previous cancer treatments. That means if you've had chemotherapy or radiation therapy, you can start to develop acute lymphocytic leukemia. As well, if you've had brothers or sisters with ALL, you can also get leukemia or even ALL, which comes from this acute lymphocytic leukemia. If you have genetic disorders such as Down syndrome or any others, you can also start to develop it. Also, exposure to radiation. If you've been exposed to high levels of radiation or been a survivor of a nuclear reactor accident, you can start to develop it too. Back to you.
Oh, hey. So leukemia, they don't have any side effects during early stages of this disease, but which is why they are hard to be diagnosed. But during a regular test, when you go to visit the doctor, you can be diagnosed with leukemia during a physical test or a blood test. When you take a blood test, a doctor can find high amounts of white blood cells in your body, which means that they can assume that you have leukemia.
The treatment for acute lymphocytic leukemia is divided into 3 different phases. The first one, induction therapy. The purpose of the first phase of treatment is to kill most of the leukemia cells in the blood and the bone marrow. Second is consolidation therapy. This phase of treatment is aimed at destroying any remaining leukemia in the body. Finally, the maintenance therapy. The third phase of treatment prevents leukemia cells from regrowing. Within each phase are multiple different types of treatments. The first treatment is called chemotherapy. Chemotherapy uses drugs to kill most of the cancer cells. The next type of treatment includes targeted therapy. Targeted drugs may be used to attack cells that contain an abnormality without harming any other cells. The third form of treatment is radiation therapy. During this, doctors use high-powered beams such as X-rays or protons to kill cancer cells. The final treatment is a bone marrow transplant, also known as a stem cell transplant. It is used for people who have a high risk of a relapse. This procedure allows someone with leukemia to reestablish a healthy bone marrow.
Acute lymphocytic leukemia is linked to and from many other diseases. There are many forms of leukemia and there's a higher chance of contracting this type, the most common one, if you have ever had any other forms of it. It is the same vice versa. One example of many specific diseases that can lead to the type of leukemia is Down syndrome. Down syndrome, like many other genetic diseases, increases the chances to have this form of cancer. Thank you for watching our video, and I hope this was informative to people who wanted to know more about leukemia.